that Stephanie White is in fact trying to turn the Indiana Fever into last year's Connecticut Sun. Stephanie White let it slip. She said she wanted to, let Caitlin be Caitlin. And it is very clear her offensive philosophy. It is very clear what Stephanie White is trying to...
When Stephanie White returned to Gainbridge Fieldhouse as head coach of the Indiana Fever, it felt like a perfect fit, an Indiana native, a Purdue legend, and the same coach who took the Fever to the 2015 WNBA Finals. It seemed like a full-circle moment. So what could possibly go wrong?
Stephanie White and Christy Sides. It's hard to believe we're even bringing up Christy Sides' name, but that's where we are. Why? Because we got Fever fans that are missing her. Last Christy Sides was let go, and we thought we were sold a bill of goods that Stephanie White was going to be this.
The hiring was met with widespread praise. Fans were excited, analysts called it a smart decision, and even the critics seemed to agree. Stephanie White appeared to be the ideal choice for a Fever team that had just drafted the most highly anticipated rookie in WNBA history.
It's very, very clear what Stephanie White is trying to do with this team. And what she's trying to do with this team is she wants them to turn into she wants them to be old WNBA. She wants them to be old WNBA. And she wants the team to be what she had success with in Connecticut. She doesn't want this team playing fast.
But here we are, and the honeymoon is clearly over. What once looked like a dream setup has turned into a mess, and Fever fans aren't staying silent. Their frustration is louder than a packed arena after a buzzer beater.
All right, Fever fans, it's time to have a very difficult conversation. One that we don't really want to talk about. The question is, what are we going to do about Stephanie White? A lot of you were screaming, get rid of Christy Sides. For Stephanie White, you were happy, you were excited, you were stoked. But I think Stephanie White has a lot to do with this team's...
Let's get into what truly pushed things over the edge, the DeWanna Bonner situation. Coach White brought her in as a two-time WNBA champ, a seasoned leader who was expected to guide a young team centered around Caitlin Clark. Bonner was supposed to bring stability, experience, and leadership. Instead, what happened was the coaching staff going out of their way to cater to a player who clearly didn't want to be part of the system.
And I'm talking about being happy personally. Like, I want her to be happy personally. I mean, there's so many things that go into it. It's a different group. While system might still be very similar, it's a different group, and things are happening quickly. And
I cannot believe, I mean this when I say this, I cannot believe the Indiana Fever had what was the best offense in the WNBA post-Olympic break and hired the coach with the worst offense in the WNBA to bring the worst offensive system to the best offensive team. What are we doing? Again, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Stephanie
White completely shifted her offensive strategy to fit Bonner into the lineup. She moved away from the fast-paced, Clark-focused offense that had made the Fever must-watch basketball, and instead switched to a more traditional system designed to match Bonner's veteran style. The outcome? A total failure. Bonner started only 3 of her 9 games, averaged just 7.1 points per game, and then disappeared for personal reasons, before eventually asking to be released.
Need to hire an NBA coach like Mark Jackson. And I became the Leo DiCaprio meme, holding the beer and the cigarette, pointing at the TV, because when Christy Sides got fired last year, I said, hire Mark Jackson or Larry Bird. You need a National Basketball Association male coach in there that doesn't give a rip what any of these other women in this league think. Doesn't have a connection to them. None of that, but has a connection to Indiana, obviously a deep-seated one. Both have coached, both have done well. Larry's getting long in the tooth, I get it, but he could probably do it for a couple of years. My point was a couple of years, similar style to Caitlin Clark's play, and get her into the hump, over the hump of the trials and tribulations of being in a profession.
If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to subscribe. Now here's where things really go off the rails. Stephanie White is running an offense that doesn't even center around Caitlin Clark. Yes, the same Caitlin Clark who was supposed to be the face of the franchise, the once-in-a-generation player who packs arenas and sets TV records. Instead of building the system around her strengths, she's stuck in a role that was originally designed for a player who walked away from the team. The stats tell the story. Clark is putting up 18.2 points and 8.9 assists per game. Solid. But not the dominant numbers fans expected. What's worse is what we're watching on the court. The same player who lit up college basketball with deep threes and elite playmaking is now being forced into a pass-first role, taking a backseat in games she should be controlling.
Stephanie White has flat out ruined this once great, electrifying, must-see TV Indiana Fever offense. There's no more excuses. It is what it is. But now, it doesn't work. She has broken this offense. I don't know if this is a sabotage job. I don't know what's going on. I don't understand how we went from literally the fastest offense to the slowest to second slowest team in the league. I don't understand how we get 2 fast break points in a game. I don't understand how we have 11 fast break points.
This isn't the Caitlin Clark we know, the one who could take over games with logo-range threes and jaw-dropping passes. What we're seeing now is a limited version of her talent, forced to adjust to a system instead of having that system revolve around her. Former WNBA executive Lynn Dunn didn't hold back, openly criticizing Stephanie White for stifling Clark's game. Dunn made it clear, the coach and her star players see basketball in completely different ways. And when a veteran like Dunn, with years of experience, is calling out your coaching approach, it's a serious red flag that can't be ignored.
The pace is too slow. They're doing set play. They're walking up the court. Last year, if you remember, Christie had them running up and down the court. I was one of those people last year, in the beginning of the season, I said, Christie Sides got to go. I didn't like the way she managed the game. But when she made it to the playoffs, I thought she deserves another shot with new personnel. I think this team might be better with this skill, with this team, these skilled players, and Christie Sides. Because
This was supposed to be Caitlin Clark's MVP year. She opened the season as the betting favorite, and the hype was absolutely justified. But instead, we're watching a player who can't stay on the court, fighting through quad and groin injuries that have already sidelined her for 6 games. That's 6 missed games from someone who never missed a single one in college. The timing? Odd. The frequency? Worrying. And now, a pattern is emerging that's hard to ignore. Her most recent groin injury happened with just 12 seconds left in a game the Fever had already secured against Seattle. So why was she still playing? That's a coaching decision, and it directly resulted in Caitlin getting hurt. What makes it worse is how Stephanie White responded. When asked about the injury, she casually said she only found out late the night before and kept repeating that she stays in her lane when it comes to medical calls. No urgency. No ownership. Just a coach sounding completely out of touch with the condition of her franchise player. It's starting to feel like White isn't fully in control, and Caitlin Clark is paying the price for it.
Have questions about, well, was this whole thing mismanaged from the get-go? And I'm talking about the original quad injury, right? Never mind the Stephanie White's style of play. That's clearly not fitting with the personnel. That's not working. So, a byproduct of Stephanie White's latest shortcomings, and yeah, they won the game last night, but they almost blew it in the fourth quarter, just like they blew the game against the Sparks the night before in the fourth quarter. The Fever should have 2 straight victories right now, easily. Actually, 3, because they beat the Storm. They should be on a 3-game heater.
Meanwhile, the league is still doing nothing to protect its biggest star. Caitlin Clark has taken flagrant fouls, cheap shots, and the kind of physical play that wouldn't even fly in hockey. The game against the Connecticut Sun summed it up perfectly. Clark got hit in the face, knocked to the floor, and somehow she ended up with a technical foul. Coach Stephanie White has criticized the officiating, but her comments fall flat when her own decisions are making things worse. She said, "Bad officiating is bad officiating," after that game, but what about bad coaching? What about not taking your star player out when the game is already decided? What about protecting her through smart substitutions and clock management? Sophie Cunningham has basically become Clark's bodyguard on the court, even warning referees that if they won't protect Caitlin, she will. When your players have to confront the officials because the coaching staff isn't doing their job, that's not leadership, it's dysfunction. And it's putting your most valuable player in constant danger.
Explanation for the tech that she got. You know, I think it was pretty obvious that stuff was brewing, right? When the officials don't get control of the ball game, when they allow that stuff to happen, and it's been happening all season long. All season long. It's not just this game, it's been happening all season long. This is what happens, right? This is what happens. You've got competitive women who are the best in the world at what they do, right? And when you allow them to play physical and you allow these things to happen, they're going to compete. And they're going to have their teammates' backs. It's exactly what you expect, right?
The Indiana Fever are sitting at 8-8, ranked 3rd in the Eastern Conference, but their record screams mediocrity. This is a team that brought in real talent during the offseason, kept its core intact, and hired a coach with a proven track record. Instead of taking a step toward becoming title contenders, they're stuck, going nowhere fast. That they've actually taken a step back from last season's playoff run, and if you watch the games, it looks even worse than the numbers suggest. They've gone 2-4 in their last 6, with losses to teams they should have easily beaten. They're blowing leads, falling apart in crunch time, and playing like a team with no clear identity, offensively or defensively, and that's the problem. With a generational player like Caitlin Clark, an all-star center like Aaliyah Boston, and a roster built to support them, sitting at .500 isn't just disappointing, it's a clear sign that the coaching staff is failing to get the most out of this group.
Understand. And it don't take a genius to figure out the formula in which we was running. We was running and gunning, playing fast. Stephanie White, again, we wanted no parts of your Connecticut offense. No parts of it. We wanted the defense. That's it. That's it. And at this point, I am missing Christy Sides, guys. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Once Christy Sides figured out that she needed to play Caitlin's style and let Caitlin do Caitlin, things was running well. I got to be honest with you. And it was must-see television. Must-see television.
The cracks are becoming impossible to ignore, and they're spreading fast. After the Fever's latest loss to the Sparks, Sophie Cunningham's post-game remarks revealed just how fractured things really are. "We have our own islands," she said. And when a team leader uses that kind of language, it's a red flag. That's not how a united locker room talks. That's the sound of a team that's lost its connection and direction, and it reflects directly on the coaching staff's inability to bring them together. Cunningham went on to say, "No one likes us," noting how every team brings their best against the Fever. For elite teams, that's motivation. But for the Fever, it's clearly becoming too much. Instead of rising to the challenge, they're collapsing under the pressure, and the blame isn't just falling on head coach Stephanie White. The front office that brought her in is now facing serious questions. This was supposed to be their championship window, the perfect combination of young stars, veteran presence, and strong leadership. Instead, it's falling apart before their eyes. The vision isn't just off track, it's unraveling.
Goes in the post-game press conference and confirms what we've all known all along. This locker room is split, and she uses the term different islands going on in this locker room. It turns out that Christy Sides and all of those toilet paper mummy activities, all those scavenger hunt activities, the wiffle ball coming back from the Olympic break, it turned out that those stupid games actually played a big part along with Erica Wheeler's veteran leadership, keeping this locker room, keeping this team together. We got no Erica Wheeler, we got no Christy Sides, the chaperone, we got none of that. And Sophie Cunningham confirms what we've all—
The DeWanna Bonner signing was a failure from the start. The front office didn't just miss the mark, they built a system that completely ignores how to get the best out of Caitlin Clark. That's not just a coaching mistake, it's an organizational failure. And the fact that Clark keeps getting injured because of poor game management. That's on the coaching staff too, and it reflects badly on everyone running basketball operations. Kelly Kroskoff, the president of basketball operations who pushed for Stephanie White's hiring, is now under serious scrutiny. Did she make the right call? Because when you have a once-in-a-generation player like Caitlin Clark, every move needs to be made with one goal in mind: does this help her take over games? And here's the harsh reality Fever fans are starting to realize: Stephanie White's system just doesn't fit this team. The motion-heavy, pass-first offense that worked in Connecticut isn't built for a scorer like Clark. It's outdated for the kind of talent she brings, and until that changes, this team will keep underachieving.
Maybe this team is looking like it's out of control. We got Joanna Bonner missing in action. Fans putting out missing posters of her. She's unfollowing people, pretty much deleting all of her Indiana Fever posts. It's looking freaking spooky. Now, I've been wanting to try to give them a benefit of the doubt, bro. Lynn Dunn, Stephanie White, the whole front office, even Kelly Cristobal. I thought they really had some things going when they brought in Joanna Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham. I mean, these are key players, even Sid Coulson. I just expected way more out of this team, and I'm here to tell you this.
White talked a big game about pushing the pace, hitting threes, and playing tough defense, but the reality has been the opposite. The Fever are playing at a slower tempo, settling for lower quality shots, and missing the easy scoring chances you'd expect with someone like Caitlin Clark running the offense, the biggest red flag. Clark and Aaliyah Boston only look truly in sync when they break away from the playbook and rely on instinct. That says everything about the system. Defensively, allowing 79.7 points per game might seem fine on paper, but in key moments, the team consistently fails to get stops. Even worse, they're not doing enough to protect Clark from the physical hits she's taking every game. The coaching staff must start putting Clark's health first. No more garbage time minutes, no more leaving her in when the outcome's already decided. The entire future of the franchise depends on keeping her healthy, effective, and on the court.
Stephanie White overmanages. She micromanages. And she likes pace. Christy Sides didn't give a damn about pace. They were the fastest team in the WNBA. Do we give Stephanie a second look? Because I think this season is a failure. I didn't expect them to lose 6 games all year, let alone 6 or 7 games.
Here's the harsh truth every Fever fan needs to face: championship windows don't last forever. Caitlin Clark is in her prime. Aaliyah Boston is evolving into a top-tier talent. And the supporting roster is stronger than it's ever been. But none of that matters if the coaching staff can't unlock their full potential. If they can't design a system that lets Clark thrive, this entire run will go down as a wasted opportunity, a failure with all the tools but no direction. The pressure is growing, the expectations are obvious, and fans are running out of patience. Stephanie White seemed like the perfect hire, but perfect hires don't lead to an 8-8 record and a fractured locker room. Based on what we've seen so far, Fever fans have every reason to be frustrated. The question now isn't if something needs to change, it's whether it'll happen in time. Because right now, the Indiana Fever are letting Caitlin Clark down. And if that continues, it's a failure no one should accept, or forget.